So there's one. I've given it a clean. Hopefully it seats back in. It definitely had something in there. If you look at that there, that could be where I've been cleaning through, or that could be fuel from something else, and this rubber just doesn't like it. So hopefully this seats back in properly. I've cleaned the needle. I'm going to put a little bit, I'm going to clean the alley there, and I'm going to put a little bit of grease on there, just spray grease there, a tiny little bit, just to help it slide. But as a general rule, you don't really need it. Just make sure this is clean and that's clean, back in, and it'll be okay. Tiny bit of grease I'm going to use though. I'm going to put this side, clean it all up, put it all back in, seat it all again, and do the other side separately. But I do need to give this a good clean out. Full carb work done. These carbs feel great. Lovely. For full disclosure, the jet I put in was slightly smaller because I couldn't get my smallest cleaner through it. So I brought it out a little bit, but I'd say it's still slightly smaller. It doesn't mean much. It's very, very slight, the difference, and it should be okay. If it's anything that affects the balance, for example, then we should be able to balance it out. But I don't expect to see any difference at all. However, if there's any issues with this bike, I know where to go looking and I know what to get. It will be that jet in the right size. Very, very minute difference, guys, but jets work like that, so it could be a difference that we don't want. But for now anyway, I'm going to chuck this on, get it all back together, because I want to see if this bike runs and rides as well as it should. And then sitting at the back there is the bike that I think, my guess is it has E10 in it. It appears to start and idle, but it just won't rev. So quick carb clean. I think I'm going to dump that fuel out and get some E5 in it, and I bet it then becomes a normal runner. That's an old bike of mine, guys. Lisa's had that a year and a half now, maybe. Great bike. It's a Chinese bike. It needs lots of servicing. Brake pads need doing now, but actually it's fine. She changed the oil not long ago. Otherwise, quick carb cleans every now and again if you get a bit of a dodgy fuel in there, and change the filter, and that's it. So I'll go over that a bit later, but I want these carbs back on, sealed, and I want to see if this bike becomes a normal runner rider that's fairly smooth. If for any reason it has any inconsistencies in its revs again, I'll be putting on the balancer next to see if we can get it all balanced out. Okay guys, so the hard part's done. New high flow foam in there. I keep some air foam, because you can make, with the old Piaggios and stuff, you can cut out the shape and put in a new air filter quite easily. So I keep some lying about, so that's good. That bit's done now. We'll see if it all makes a difference. I'm off to get some lunch, and when I come back, we will be firing this bad boy up. And my guess is it will be okay. Okay, we're back to here. The battery's a bit flat, so I've hooked the car up. No engine this time. I've swapped the earth cable. I think it's the earth cable on the other one that's gone a bit iffy. It will take a while to put this fuel through. It has to go up the line and in, but there's no reason why it shouldn't start in a minute. Let's go choke. So the carbs will be filling up. Give it a minute to do its thing. Let's try no choke. Ooh. Yay. Now the idle won't be set because I turned it down when I was cleaning the carbs. At the moment it will be cleaning out all that spray, all that crap. It will take a minute or two. It might even be a touch smoky. Nah, it's not really. But it will be cleaning out all that crap. I'll give it a minute to properly warm up and then I'll set the idle. I'll come back to you guys when I've set the idle and we'll see how it... I've got my GoPro actually, we'll give it a quick run. I'm glad I can hear the fuel pump working more now, listen. Tick. Tick, that's better, it was definitely worth doing. Listen to the throttle response, guys, look at this. Wow. Quarter, half, full. Wow. I think it's going to be smooth as anything. Funny enough, I lowered the idle earlier, but the idle is high. So I'll drop the idle. I'll drop it soon actually before it gets too hot because it's quite high. The idle's up here and it gets quite hot in there. So drop it a little bit. That's what. Wow, it feels so responsive, guys. I'm very, very pleased. Very pleased. What I'm going to do is let the bike kind of warm up and stuff, and I think I'm going to start piecing it back together from the top end, but I'm going to drop the oil. I've got brand new oil for it. Sadly I haven't got an oil filter, so it's going to be an oil drop and change, but it's better than nothing. Definitely better than nothing. So yeah, I'm going to drop the oil. I'm so pleased, it sounds great. Lower that idle a little bit more. Got to be careful, we've got to make sure it's warm. There you go. Wow. I'm shocked at the throttle response there, guys, I've got to say. Oh, we've got a small, where did I just see a small drip? Here. Alright, I need to put a, let's put a little clip on that. Easy enough to do. Cool, I'm going to give it 5 minutes to actually properly warm up, and then I think I'm going to drop the oil while it's hot, you know, so that we get the majority out, and then we'll start again with some fresh oil, and I probably need to get the little moped done. It's running very, very smooth, guys. I haven't taken it on the road, but it's idling and revving very smooth as it sits, which is great news. Very slight stumble from the exhaust, but I think my gut feeling is that the insides of the exhaust have had it. To be fair, now I've set the idle correctly, it's gone. We won't know until I test run it. But I can't test run it like this because it's just too all over the place, you see. I think for me, I'm going to do the oil change because that's definitely the right next step. And then we'll circulate the oil, put the panels back on, and carry on. That must be the oil bung. Maybe. Possibly. It must be. Or is there another one? Yeah, that's the oil bung there. So let's drop this oil and we'll see where we go from there. So I've just dipped the oil and it's so clean, it's super clean. Look, oh, it's so clean. I mean, if it was black, then it's something we'd have to consider, but that's too clean for me to change. The only reason I would consider changing that was if I thought the wrong oil was in there, or if it was darker than that. That's pretty fresh oil. The only other thing could be that it's been sitting 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So would it be worth dropping anyway? Actually, I think yes. Yeah, I'm going to drop it. There it is, guys. I told you I was going to do a ASMR channel one day, just this. And then I'm going to rewind it, and then I'm going to do it again, and then I'm going to rewind it, and then you're going to fall asleep. Or if you want to fall asleep really quickly, you could watch Nat Snacker's Yard. I'm only joking. That is a good friend of mine. I love his channel. In hindsight, that oil is not as clean as the dip looked, and I'm glad I convinced myself, because it had been sitting there 2 or 3 years, so it could have absorbed water. It could have, you know, anything like that. It's very, very hot. That's why it's so runny. Well worth getting it out. I'm going to give the bike a bit of a shake, try and get most of that out, and then we'll be filling it up with nice, fresh, good quality oil. So fresh oil's in. I'm just circulating it. Funny, I took out 2.5 and put in roughly 2.4, so it was the exact amount, which is good. Nice fresh new oil in there, guys. I'll let it circulate, let it get around, let it do its thing. That old oil had been sitting in there 2 or 3 years, so it makes sense. You just don't know what crap's crawling in there or seeping through, or is rainwater getting in. So there you go, it's nice fresh oil. The bike sounds great to me. I don't know about you. I like the fact that I can hear the fuel pump ticking away there. That's a good sound. That shows you that the old points needed changing. Nowadays you get that for 30 quid. Some years back a new pump was around 100 quid, so you could change the points for around 30 quid. But on something like this now, you can just change the whole thing. Great. So I'm very aware I haven't touched the old moped over there yet, so I think I'm going to have to give that a quick carb clean, get onto that now. But I'm very excited. This bike potentially could be ready for, say, MOT. Well, soon, you know, once I piece it all back together. It started great there, guys. First time, no issues at all. And that's it. I'm looking forward to getting all the panels back on, giving it a bit of a clean. I want to go over the brakes, I want to get them off, I want to give them a clean. Although, to be fair, I'm out of brake cleaner, so I'm going to have to go and get some, but that's okay. I'll shoot to Halfords later or something. Cool, good. I'm pleased, very pleased. So I've taken the front mudguard off to polish up the forks and to give the brakes a bit of a clean. I'm going to pop them off in a minute, although I haven't got brake cleaner, which is really annoying. And secondly, I want to see how well this paint does kind of clean up. At the moment, this is what we've got. It's clean enough, guys, let's be honest. I think it will need a clean. I'll probably use some of the polish by hand, maybe, and then some high gloss, and we'll just get it clean, that's all. I don't think there's any point compounding this. It's kind of quite smooth underneath. And then there's that clean fork on the right compared to how it was, which is that on the left. Little bit of pitting in there, but nothing hugely worrying yet. It can always be sanded down and painted or shined at a later date. It's not something I'm going to do. So I'll clean the other side, pop the brakes off, clean them up as much as I can. I could do with one more can. Look, I've exhausted everything. Brake cleaner, engine degreaser, everything. But it'd be nice to get them done today and actually get the wheels cleaned. Basically get it kind of nipped up over the next day or two. Moped's fine, that's done. It needed a quick carb clean. The idle jet was blocked. Simply unblocked it, threw it back together. It sounds great. So that's good. Again, I don't charge a penny for this work, guys. This is what the bikes produce. This is that's how it works. Right, let me get onto this fork and then start popping the brakes off. Okay, so wheel cleaned up lovely. Look at that, stunning, the wheel and the shock. Completely taken off and cleaned the brake. The pads are definitely low, look, guys. I mean, yeah, absolutely false economy not changing them over. The code's on the back, that's great. I'm going to go to my local tomorrow and see if they have a set and some brake cleaner, and then very easy then, isn't it? Chuck it on, it's good to go. I've done all the cleaning work today on that one. I'll do the same on the other side. And yeah, this bike was looked after, guys. Everything I touch comes undone, and that shows you. That shows you it was looked after. I do need lots of brake cleaner because I'm using lots of degreaser around here. So yeah, lots of brake cleaner to before I get this back out on the road, basically. So let's do the other side. That side's all done and dusted. I've just sprayed some, again, degreaser on it, just to let that seep into some of the gunge. Then I'll give it a good old clean, and then we'll leave that for its new pads. Got to get this side off now. So finishing up for today, the rear brakes are fine, but I did take them off, clean them, put them back on. By the way, the rear brake on this bike is such a pain in the arse to get to. It's up at the back on the inside. They should have bottom mounted this one. It should have been down there for ease. Yeah, it's a pain, but it's okay. It's probably working better than it was. It appears to be. Front brakes, I need to pick up these two pads, EBC FA 209/2. I need 2 sets of them, and then the fronts will be good to go as well, and I need some brake cleaner. I'll leave all this out, look, the dot 4 and stuff, because it doesn't matter at the moment. We'll top it all up properly tomorrow, and then I think this bike is so close to being ready, really. I'll give it a good clean and polish, MOT, and then I think I'm sitting on 1250. I don't know how optimistic I'm being. If I can clean it up well, including that exhaust, I'd be looking at around 1250 for a bike that's running, riding and serviced and has a history like this, 35,000 miles. Because they do double and triple that, that's the truth. Mileage wise, this bike has many years left. But for now, I'm wrapping up, I'm shattered. As always, thanks for watching. Click the like button, subscribe, click the bell button and drop me a comment. Doesn't matter how silly it seems, it all helps the channel out. Hi guys, welcome back. My name's Charlie, I'm the motorcycle rescuer, and I am hunting down brake pads. Leek Street Bikes had one set, Burwins Motorcycles had one set, Maitland Racing had one set. So I'm going to go and pick up another set somewhere, and we'll get this deauville back on the road. So yeah, hi guys, welcome back. I got 2 sets of pads. Annoyingly, different brands, same pads. Now I'm kind of in my head arguing with myself what's best to do here. Could you use one of both on each side? That's going to be silly. I think the worst thing that's going to happen here is one will wear down quicker than the other. I think that's the worst. I think braking wise it will feel completely normal and be fine. It's the wear, and by splitting one on them and one on them on each side, I think you'll find that one side wears quicker than the other, so that both have to be changed. That will be a pain. What I'm going to do is do left and right, keep it simple. So the deauville is going to have its brakes today. Now this bike, I get really excited about this bike. I'm really enjoying this build. I'm not sure why either. I really don't know why. But I'm actually finding myself like looking forward to this one, and that's a lovely feeling. So like I'm looking forward. So I had to go out to 2 different bike shops to get these pads today, but I really wanted to do it. And again, yeah, lovely feeling. So what do I need to do? I need to put the front brakes on today, and then new fluid in, get that all bled through, blah blah blah, so on and so on. Rear brake I did get sorted yesterday. There's not much feel in the rear brake lever, but it is working. But I'll only know that properly when I go out and do a run. That's the truth. Battery needs charging. I borrowed my charger to Aiden, but I'll grab that at some point. Charge the battery. I mean, it's my fault, and it's also part of the issue of this bike that people mention online. Once you switch to reserve, you run out of fuel. It takes quite a lot of cranks to get it back in, to get the fuel back in, cranking it over. It would have been better having a prime function where you turn the key and it primes itself. But it doesn't, so we'll live with it. It's got fresh oil, The carb clean seemed spot on yesterday. My God, the bike seemed smooth as anything. So I think we're there. I gave the front wheel a good clean, and I think it's come up looking beautiful. Daniel always says to me, put some compound on the wheels. I don't know why. Do you know what it is? I'm just lazy. I just don't like the idea of rubbing a bit of compound around the wheel. I struggle enough just cleaning it. But you can compound the paint on wheels, I guess. The rear wheel is quite bad. Let me show you a nice view. It's quite kind of deep dirt. But I did buy some good wheel cleaner that I was using the other day. So I'll do that. Now, I wanted to change the shaft oil in this, but I don't know how to do it, if I'm being honest. I've never done one before. So this might be a good time to do it. I've got gear oil in there, 80/90, same stuff. My guess is you undo that and you let it drain out and you fill up through there, but I don't know how much you put in. So I'll just Google it like everyone else does, and I think I'll change the oil. Okay, so let's look at what we're working with here. Brakes were stripped down yesterday. You all saw that. Carrier is here. We put the carrier back in. That's step one. So, apologise, I haven't got a stand, so I'm going to be filming a bit dodgy. But basically, you slide it on like that. You can put a bit of grease inside. You don't really need to. Cleaning them out will do enough. I put a little bit of grease on anyway. There's step one. You've got your carrier in. Step two, your new pads are out. Okay, they're here, they're out. They've got a bit of a weird coating on them, but that stuff comes off, so don't worry too much. Step three is you've got your carrying pin there, and you've got your retaining clip there. So what we do is we lay these in and we slide them up to their resting plates. So this would go in like this. Sorry about the filming, but basically it goes in like that, and then the end there is, where is it? Let's find it. It's in its resting plate, so you push it all the way up until it clips in there. Terrible filming, but you'll get the idea if you're ever doing it. Do the same on the other side, and then you simply put the pin through. Then you're going to have two brake pads sitting there with a simple pin through and a clip on the end. You've got to give that a bit of a tap, but they're lovely pins, they come out easy. Now, everything on this bike so far, guys, has come off, and that's beautiful. That means the last owners and mechanics treated it properly and they greased everything. So any kind of threads that I'm working with, I'm putting tiny bits of grease on the screws and stuff so that the bike can live another 15-20 years, because the grease really helps the next person service it, which is exactly what I'm doing now. Right, I'm going to pop both them pads in. I'll show you what it looks like. So there you go, guys, that's what it looks like. You've got two brake pads now in there. You've got the clip back through. I need to knock this in a bit and then clip that pin on, and then this is safe and ready to go back on the road. Then it's simple. Make a gap in between the pads, slide it on and put your bolts back in. That's the first part, changing the actual pads. Now we'll look at the fluid part. Okay, so what's next? Next you need your DOT4 fluid from a sealed container. You'll have many discussions about what a sealed container is for DOT4. You'd be amazed. Some people out there open it, use it once, chuck it away because they think it's no longer sealed. The lid's on, guys. That's a sealed container. That hasn't been taken in water because the lid's on. So that's an old fluid, not that old because I use it a lot, but the lid's on. That's a sealed container. You do not need to throw brake fluid away once you've used it. Right, now let's think about what's happening down here at the moment. We've already got fluid in these lines, so there's fluid in here and there's fluid in here because we haven't taken it out. We've got plenty of fluid all the way up, but we have the pistons pushed all the way back, so we pushed all the fluid back up and then I sucked it out at the top to put in fresh. Okay, so we've got 1, 2 and the same on the other side filling up. They're that big and they're filling up kind of that much of fluid. That's going to be pretty much more than what this can hold, so I'm when we're doing this process, not only are we going to be bleeding the air out, but we're also going to be topping this up, so that when they've all the pistons have come out and met each other, and it's tightened itself up, we're at the right level at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is top this kind of halfway up while we do the bleed process. I'm going to be using the tapping bleed process, which is gentle flicks of the brake, and we'll watch the bubbles until they disappear. Again, there's fluid throughout this system, so it shouldn't take that long. There's the lovely fresh fluid, guys. Don't be tempted to taste it, it's not honey. Right, here you go. Let's pull on this brake cleaver really gently, can we see me? And we'll watch for bubbles. If we're not getting any bubbles, which we're not at the moment, we need to figure out what's going on. But, there you go, the fluid's going down. So we're filling up them piston rings, and actually I've already got some catch there. Lovely, there was no air in that system, which is rare. Let me top back up. Can I do that one-handed? Have I got the power? Oh, I have actually, funny enough. Right, there you go. Top you back up, because we want to make sure you're at the right level anyway. And funny that how they all stuck. Now guys, don't assume that all 4 pistons are out there. All 4 pistons may not be out. Give it a play. Look, one of the MOT tests is that this doesn't hit the bar, so you do have to work it like that. There you go. That is such a good feeling brake now, guys. That is rock solid. What you can do, if you're worried about it not having got enough air out or the pistons being stuck, strap this down for an hour like that. Just strap it down for an hour, and then they'll all creep out to the right point, and then they'll work back and forward as they should. But I can feel that, guys. That is a lovely feeling brake. That's great news. We now have new brake pads and good working brakes on the front. My biggest next step for any time I've done this kind of work on the brakes, guys, is brake cleaner. I need to buy some, and my god, I'm going to douse the hell out of this front wheel with brake cleaner, because that takes away oils and residues and anything we may have left on by mistake. So brake cleaner, the whole discs inside and out, and the calipers, just really douse it, and you'll find that your bike is ready to go, which is great news. I'm going to throw the lid back on, and then I'm going to start looking at, look at that, it's such a great feeling brake. I'll start looking at how well the plastics clean up. I'm going to throw this back on, nip it up, and we'll move on.